For the notes today, we're going to be graphing systems of inequalities. For the first example, we'll be graphing the system of inequalities with y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 3 and y is less than 1/2 x plus 1. We're going to graph each inequality separately and then do our shading. We're going to need an y-axis and an x-axis for our graph. And we're going to remember the rules of inequalities. If it has an or equal to, it's a solid line. If it doesn't have an or equal to, then it's a dotted line. For our first equation, since it's y is greater than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line, and since it's greater, we're going to shade above that line. Now we're going to find the slope and y-intercept so that we can graph that. The slope is the number in front of the x, which is 2. We're going to write that as a fraction, 2 over 1, so it'll rise 2 and run 1. The number at the end without the x is our y-intercept, so we're going to put a point at 0, -3, and then go up 2 and over 1 to get our other points, and make our solid line. We're going to save all of the shading until after we've graphed both of these lines, so we won't shade yet. Now we'll look at the second equation. Y is less than 1/2 x plus 1. First, we know that since it's less than, but not equal to, it's going to be a dotted line, and we're going to shade below, since less than is below. We're going to find the slope and y-intercept. The slope is the number in front of x, 1/2, and the y-intercept is the number at the end without the x, 1. So we're going to start at the point 0, 1, and then go up 1 and over 2 to graph our line. Remember, this is a dotted line. Now that we have got both of those lines graphed, we can do our shading. We know that we want to shade above the red line, but below the purple line. So we're going to be shading that space in between that's below purple and also above red. Pause the video and then copy this into your notebook. For our second example, we're going to graph this system of inequalities. Y plus 9 is greater than or equal to 3x, and y is less than 2x plus 7. We're going to need an x and y axis. Since we have some larger numbers, make sure your tick marks go all the way out to those larger numbers of 9 and 7. For the first equation, before we graph it, we're going to have to solve for y, or get the y by itself. The opposite of adding 9 is to subtract 9 on both sides, so we can cancel that out and get y equals 3x less than 9. Because this is a greater than or equal to, we're going to have a solid line shaded above. Our slope is the number in front of x, 3 or 3 over 1. And our y-intercept is the number at the end without the x, which is -9. On our graph, we would go to the point 0, -9 to draw a point, and then go up 3 and over 1 to get the rest of the points and draw our line. Remember, this one isn't going to be a solid line because it's greater than or equal to. We're going to wait to do the shading until after we've graphed the second line. Since the second line is already solved for y, we can go ahead and find that slope and y-intercept. After we've recognized that this is going to be a dotted line shaded below, since it's less than but not equal to. The slope is the number in front of the x, 2 or 2 over 1. And the number at the end of the equation with no x is our y-intercept, 7. We're going to start by graphing the point 0, 7, and then go up 2 and over 1. Now we've run out of space, so we can go down 2 and backwards 1 to get the rest of the points we need to graph our line. Our final step is to do the shading. We want to shade above the solid red line, but below the purple dotted line. So we'll shade that space in between. Now pause the video and copy this into your notebook.